What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week. Had yourselves a great weekend. We are back to finally talk about and give my thoughts on Daredevil Season 2, or Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Now, the season finished up about 2 weeks ago. I've just been busy with other stuff, and so we are now getting around to talking about it. So this is not going to be like a very lengthy. I always say that, and then it always turns into a lengthy kind of conversation. But this is just me. I'm just going to give my thoughts about the entire Born Again Season 2 and the potential of Born Again Season 3 as well. So overall, with Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, I do think it was a small step in a better direction compared to what Season 1 had to offer, but Season 2 was still not as good. Like, there were still issues that I had with it. Again, the only highlights of this series, whether it's Season 1 of Born Again or Season 2 of Born Again, is Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. Those are really the only two high points of this series, or really the entire Daredevil series. Now, obviously, the Netflix version is drastically different from the Disney version, but those two have been pretty much consistent between the Netflix and the Disney versions. So obviously, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 takes place after the end of Season 1. Fisk is mayor, Vigilante Task Force comes in, they start taking over, and pretty much, arresting anybody that they deem as vigilantes, or just anybody that they don't like. As we see it in some instances of like a bodega worker who held up a bunch of kids trying to rob his store at gunpoint. Angela's mom gets arrested after she quote unquote hit a cop or hit a task force member. And so it's just sequences like that where um it's just giving off the face of making the city better. Now, obviously, Fisk is still Fisk, and he is still doing illegals arms through his Red Hook port, which the charter makes it virtually untouchable by the United States for the most part, unless the governor revokes it. Now, the series opens up with a ship called the Northern Star making its way into port. Now, Matt, going full vigilante, no, I mean, not full vigilante, but Daredevil wise, jumps aboard it, and he is investigating the ship, because obviously Fisk, like I mentioned, he's still doing something. So this Northern Starship is smuggling illegal arms. Now, this is probably in conjunction with Matthew Leonard's character Charles, who I would assume is working for like the CIA, or some U.S. government agency like that, because they benefit from something like that, because the illegal arms that was on the Northern Star is supposed to go to like a to I don't think they give I don't think they give the name of the country. They say, oh, to like some rebels and things like that. So obviously it's CIA stuff doing CIA stuff. Now, obviously, these things go awry when they do have orders, the captain and the first mate. They're to sink the Northern Star in case somebody boards it. Now, the problem is, now I don't know if the ship is in a part of the river where it's just not going to fully sink, because part of it sinks, but the other part doesn't. And so that leads to this whole Matt Charles hiring a international crew to come in to retrieve the stuff, and basically kill these people afterwards. Um, so basically, it's trying, like, the whole thing is trying to get Fisk pegged down for something illegal that will cause him to be removed from the office as mayor. Um, and then just throughout the episode, or not throughout the episode, I'm sorry, but throughout the season, it is just these different encounters of dealing with Fisk, dealing with Poindexter, Vanessa. Um, ultimately ending with Matt going to jail and Fisk going to an island. So one of the things, I'm not going to go in like an order and everything like that. I'm just going to generally talk about some things about this season. One of the things that looks like they're setting up, and I talked about it in my episode 8 review the other week, a couple weeks ago, where Heather Glenn, the psychiatrist, therapist, whatever, that was doing the counseling for Vanessa and Fisk in season 1, and now she's basically fully on board with what Fisk and his group is doing. It looks like because of her encounter with Muse in season 1, she is going to be, because throughout season 2 she's had these PTSD moments where she was seeing Muse in the mirror, um, and it looks like they're gonna make her at least a villain for season 3, because we see her put on the Muse mask at the end of the series, and I don't like this character. I don't know if they did her justice enough. I didn't even like her in season 1. I thought she was a useless character. Now I don't know if, let me see. I want to see something real quick, because what I want to see real fast is who has played. Has anybody else played Muse, or has it just been? Oh, there has. Okay, so there's been two, or maybe two, or a couple of different Muses. So I don't know, but yeah. So she looks like they're. I did see people share like comic versions of a female Muse, so it looks like she is going to be that. I'm like, I don't really care for that, and I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But I just thought her character was like very much like insufferable. Like she obviously cared about Buck. You can see her get more and more aggressive throughout this, at least this season for sure, to where to the point where she punches or slaps Karen when she is interviewing her in the police station. She even punches was it Holberg, the lawyer that was on the defense side of things. Um, she like punches him in the throat. I don't know if she kills him or not, but it's like she has been slowly getting more aggressive. She even steals a piece of jewelry from Vanessa Fisk while she's at the funeral after Vanessa passed away and everything. And so her character had been slowly turning into something throughout this entirety of season 2. I guess if you want to say that towards the end of season 1, after her encounter with Muse and everything. But I don't know. I just don't think this is a good character. But that's just me. Um, Bullseye. I like Poindexter. I like this character. I feel like I feel like I think I saw somewhere where he talked about how they could have done more with his character, but they didn't. I'll have to try to find that quote because I don't want to misquote it. But I thought he was pretty cool. I love the scene when he's in the diner and he does a fake call to the task force talking about Frank Castle's in this diner in so and so street, and he just starts, they come in, he just starts taking out everybody, and I just love it. I just love how Bullseye, he is such a cool character. um and you can see like how in this Bullseye in this season, now you remember in season 1, he's basically trying to kill Vanessa. Vanessa was the one that hired him to kill Foggy. Now it is still unclear how Vanessa, I guess if you want to say coerced him into killing Foggy. It's like there's something going on. Or at least she did something to Poindexter to get him to kill Foggy. But basically with Poindexter, he is trying to do uh balance his scales. If he could do one good deed, that will balance the scales. And him trying to kill Vanessa, or maybe even Fisk in the general sense, is going to balance that scale. And so and I do love the interaction between him and Matt as well, because obviously Matt is a Catholic, and he's also trying to balance his scales, because if you remember at the beginning of Daredevil Born Again season 1, he throws Bullseye off of 2-3 story building after he killed Foggy, and but Poindexter didn't die, obviously. Um, and so the conversations between those two, I really really love. Um, there was, I can't remember which episode it was, but it was like after the boxing match where Bullseye shows up, and he's able to he throws like a snow globe of New York City or whatever, and it shatters because Fisk holds up a belt, but a piece of it pierces Vanessa's the side of her head, and it causes her to basically die. And Matt and Poindexter go to the church to like kind of hide out. Which, one, I don't know how the task force found them so quickly, but they did. And two, I didn't really like how Matt originally was going to leave Poindexter. I don't know. It felt very much out of character, because I think Matt would have. Because in season 2 of the Netflix Daredevil, Matt doesn't leave an unconscious Frank Castle by himself. He fends off several waves of bikers to defend Frank, and so I was just like, I don't understand like why that was even done. And he's just like, I can't save us both. I'm sorry, and he just leaves Poindexter for the task force to get him. But then he stops because he remembers a conversation that he had with Foggy, which I'll talk about that thing in a second. And then he goes back and he basically saves Poindexter. Sorry, Poindexter. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know why you did that. That's such a weird thing to do, but nonetheless, another thing I liked in this series was the flashback with Foggy and Matt. Now, is to my understanding, this particular scene takes place before the events of season 1, or at least before maybe Matt dons the vigilante mask and everything like that. So, but I do enjoy that, because we knew Foggy was going to come back, probably like in a flashback, because a lot of people were kind of upset that Foggy died in season 1 of Born Again anyway. But the showrunners came out and they talked about how he is going to be back, but everybody kind of figured it was just going to be a flashback, or what if he was just faking his death or something like that. But no, he's actually dead. So I thought that was probably the best episode, because it was the same episode where Vanessa dies, and both of them, both the flashbacks were taking place before the events of season 1, or at least for the Fisk and Vanessa portion during season 1, because we see how Fisk ends up going to this art gallery and meeting Vanessa for the first time, and everything like that. Um, so so some side things. So number one is Angela, um, whose uncle was Hector, White Tiger. I still, again, I've said this since season 1 of Born Again, and I've said it throughout season 2 of Born Again. I wish they would have made her older, because I feel like she's a little bit too young to be like this White Tiger character. I think maybe if she was more of an adult, maybe like 18, 19, 20, something like that, I would have felt a little bit better with it, because it would have made a lot more sense. Um, and you could probably even had Matt train her, and stuff like that. I thought she was fine. She was okay. Um, we do see her at the end get involved in some fighting, because she's wearing the White Tiger amulet, which I guess I'm not sure what it does, because I'm not familiar with the White Tiger character. Let me see. I'm sorry. I've been saying Angela. I meant Ava. I'm completely sorry. I think I've been saying Angela this entire time. But I believe, like, let's see, superhuman strength. So I guess this is what the amulet does: superhuman strength, speed, agility, durability, stamina, and senses, healing, razor sharp claws, energy generation. But we didn't see any of that, so obviously it's gonna be a little bit different. Um, we did see her have like little, somewhat claw marks, but she had like these like knives that she uses that made it look like it was claw marks. But she gets in on the fight. She plays a somewhat role in throughout the series. Not really that big of a deal, but she does come to the rescue of Matt and Karen because they make a plan to bust um into what's it called, Red Hook, because at the beginning of episode 1 of season 2, Matt takes a watch and places it inside one of the containers for the illegal arms, and so that way he can hear the ticking and he can probably keep track of where the shipment is and everything. So luckily they ran into Kristen ended up having to go to Red Hook because Jack Duquesne, sword the I think his vigilante name is Swordsman, was gonna be put on trial. Like they fast tracked his vigilante trial. It was all rigged. It was never going to be a fair thing in court to begin with anyway. And so um, Matt is able to break in because of Kristen was able to basically tell Daredevil how to get to where he needed to go, and with the help of a task force guard who doesn't really want to be involved in this. He doesn't like what they're doing. It's not what he believed in. He ends up basically betraying them and giving Matt a key card to gain access to a locked room, and where he finds like cages full of people that Fisk has captured. Now we did see this at the end of season 1 when we see Frank escape, which I did my Punisher One Last Kill review the other week, and that even just brings up more questions because that is supposed to be set afterwards of season 1 and during the events of season 2 of Born Again, and there's a lot of stuff in it that just doesn't make sense. But that's beside the point. So anyway, that's beside the point. Um, we get Jessica Jones again, uh, which we kind of figured, and it definitely feels like they're trying to reset up the defenders potentially. Because Charles apparently has been going around and asking individuals for help with some assignments and stuff like that. Now Luke is one of those individuals. He took Charles up on his word, and he's somewhere doing something. Jessica said no because obviously her and Luke have a child now, which Charles sent some guys to scare her, but ultimately pissed her off because you brought guns to her home where her daughter was. She was not a big fan of that. Um, we see her and Matt team up to take to destroy the arms that was taken from the Northern Star. And one of the interesting things about it was during that fight sequence when her and Matt were fighting the task force guys in the warehouse where the illegal arms was being kept. Because we see her fighting, and then we see her come across Powell, and she goes to punch Powell. And initially, I thought there was something about Powell. Maybe he was like a metahuman or something like that. Maybe there's something like from the comic books. I don't know if Officer Powell is in the comic books or not, but maybe there's something about him. Maybe he has powers or something like that. Because she goes to punch him, but it really doesn't do anything to him. And then we come to learn that her powers are not working as they used to. Now I'm curious if that is because she has a daughter, and maybe those powers have maybe after her daughter was born through genetics and things, maybe it shifted to her. I don't know. That would be an interesting storyline to follow potentially if they did a Jessica Jones, did another season of that. Um, and then who else was there in the series? Who else was there in this series? So basically, the series, the season two ends with we get this whole courtroom sequence where Karen gets arrested. She gets put on trial. Um, and we come to find out, or not we come to find out, but the city learns that Matt is Daredevil, because during this whole courtroom sequence they have the video evidence of the first mate of the Northern Star talking about what they were supposed to do, who told them to do this. um, we knew him as, they called him the Kingpin, but we knew him as Mayor Fisk. And it goes down. It basically goes down like Matt revealing his identity as Daredevil, which I've never been a huge fan of, like, heroes doing that. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just just never been like a huge fan of that. I don't. It's such a, I hate that. But but this whole thing ends up with a huge chaotic brawl with Fisk in the courthouse, where Fisk is literally killing, uh I guess if we want to say protesters, that's fine, but like, he's literally killing people. And what's so crazy about it, and I've seen people talk about it on the internet and everything, is he he essentially gets off scotch free. He does. Like, yeah, he had to strip away. He had to resign as mayor. And he had to. I think he had to renounce his citizenship as well. But the attorney general, they offered him a way out, which is crazy. He literally killed innocent bystanders in this courthouse. And he gets off basically scotch free and goes to the island where him and Vanessa, um I think that's where they've been before. But it's such a crazy thing. And then Matt, he gets arrested and he goes to jail. Now, Charlie Cox said we do know there's a season three coming. We do, because I think season three is either currently being filmed or has already wrapped filming itself. But we do know a season three is coming. Now, is it going to have multiple villains? Because we do know Heather is going to be a female version of Muse. We don't know if Kingpin's coming back. Is the Hand coming back? Because we have in Spider-Man Brand New Day, we have the Hand. And there is a sequence towards the end of that trailer where it's like the Hand on one side and Spider-Man on the other side, and like they're in midair about to collide with each other. And it gives off the vibe that there's other people in that clip that got edited out that we have not seen yet. So, because I think Charlie Cox mentioned that he's not in Daredevil, or he's not in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But we'll see. If the Hand is involved, I would have to think some way, shape, because you got Punishers in it. I think the Hulk is in it. Jean Grey, we don't know, but overall, I think with Daredevil Born Again season two, it was still not as good as like the Netflix series. And I know people are going to be like, "Hey, don't compare them. They're vastly different." It's like having two different comic book writers writing for the same character. Yeah, I get that, but when you've had three seasons of pretty much nearly perfection, and you get something like this with the Disney side of it, it's just bad, and I just don't care that much for it. Like, I like Daredevil. I'm not saying, like, I wasn't really ever all like a huge Daredevil fan. Like, I enjoyed Daredevil. I like the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie from the mid 2000s. Um, and then there's different video games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance that Daredevil was in. But other than that, I just like Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I think he's a great Matt Murdock. He's a great Daredevil. Um, and we'll see what season three has to offer in that regards. But which I think, I don't, let me see, season 3. Let's see, which I think season 3 is already, let me see. Uh, so okay, so as of right now, officially in production and scheduled to premiere in next year, March of 2027. I will give Disney credit in this sense that they've been able to quickly get this done and put this out, because remember, we got season 1 last year, then we got season 2 this year, and then I think that's good. I will give them credit for not leaving like a 2, 3, 4 year gap in between seasons. So that's pretty good. So let's see. Picking up, and so it's going to pick up 1 year after season 2. Uh, it's going to revolve. So Fisk is yeah, I was if Fisk is back, he's probably going to just be like the puppeteer, just controlling everything from his location. Um, Let me see. What else does this say? Um, yeah, so it looks, let's say, the Defenders reunion following the fall of season 2, returning characters from across the Netflix. So yeah, they all, yeah. So it looks like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand are going to be a part of season 3, which is not a big surprise because I think there's like behind the scenes that have already came out of like at least Luke Cage for season 3 of Daredevil. Um, Trying to see what else is there. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what season 3 does when it comes out in 2020, 2027. But guys, that is basically my thoughts on season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. A little bit better than the first one. Still not that great. A lot of issues, but it is what it is. But guys, if you are new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure you comment below. You can also find me on the gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify. All that you can find down in the description below. But once again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.